So if you play sports and you're an athlete, then it's obviously really important to be athletic and physically good at your sport. But something that's overlooked a lot is being smart in your sport and understanding your sport to a really, really good level and having a really good mental approach of your sport more than everybody else. And there's been a lot of athletes in history that have been physically so far ahead of everybody else. Maybe they can jump the highest, they can run the fastest, they're the strongest, they have the most energy. And all of those are great things that will probably give you a really, really big advantage on everybody in your sport. But it's important to also be smart in your sport. And what does this mean exactly? Well, a lot of great athletes have not been the most physically gifted, not the strongest, the fastest, the most athletic in general, but they've just been so smart. And I'm going to talk about like 3 athletes that were really smart in their sport, and it helped them so much in becoming some of the greatest of all time in their sport because they just understood it to a level that not everybody else did. And I'm going to talk about some things I did to become smarter in my sport, even though I'm nowhere near as smart as I could be in my sports or as smart as these athletes here, which is why I'm going to talk about it. Obviously, if you're here, make sure to smash that subscribe button. That'd mean a lot. We're trying to get this channel to 1,000 subscribers, and hitting that subscribe button will go a long way in getting more people to see this video and growing this channel as a whole. So thank you so much, and definitely make sure to subscribe. So one athlete who was not the biggest, strongest, fastest, or most athletic, but was still the greatest, the undeniably greatest of all time in his sport, was Wayne Gretzky in ice hockey. And if you don't know who that is, or if you don't know what ice hockey is, then you're living under a rock. No, I'm just kidding. But he played hockey, and he wasn't the biggest, strongest, fastest, but he understood the game so much that he was always 2 steps ahead of everybody on the ice. And hockey's a team sport, so it's really crucial to understand where everybody else is on the ice, what they're doing at any given time, and how to use your teammates to your advantage, how to exploit the other team and their weaknesses. And if you can do this, then like him, you're going to be such a force in your sport, because he always knew whenever he had his back turned to the other players, he knew where everybody else was exactly on the ice. And he could always pass right to the right person. He always picked the right corner when he was shooting. And some of this can't be taught, but you can apply some of this. What he did to understand this game so well was when he was young, he focused on understanding where the puck goes and where his teammates move, where the other team players move. And when he was a kid, he said that he would watch hockey in front of the TV, and he would take a piece of paper and a pencil, and he would draw a hockey rink. And then he would take a pencil and he would trace the puck. He would follow the puck on TV and figure out where it went. Then after doing this for however long he did it for, he would look at the darkest areas on the sheet and realize that's where the puck was the most, and that's where the most action happened on the ice. So he uses to his advantage and realized that when he's on the ice and he can't see anybody else, he doesn't know what's happening, then he realizes that that's where most of the action's happening, and that's where he should go and anticipate the play. And if you don't play hockey, then you can definitely apply this to your sport. If you play basketball or lacrosse or football, soccer, any sport like that, rugby, where it's a similar sport to that. So go try something out like this, and who knows, maybe you'll see that this can definitely work for you as well. Another super smart athlete in their sport was this guy named Steve Nash, and he's actually Canadian as well, which is pretty cool. But one of the reasons why he was so good at his sport was not that because he was super strong, or he jumped super high and he was super athletic, or he was super fast, but it was because he was so smart. And in basketball, there's a statistic called assists, where basically if you're the last person to pass the ball to a person, before they score a basket, then you got the assist. And it might be easier said than done, but he is the 5th most all-time assists in NBA history with, I think, like 10,300 something. I'm not exactly sure. But how he did this was similar to Wayne Gretzky in hockey. He knew where his teammates were, he knew where they were going, and he made it really easy on them to play with him, because they always knew he could get the ball to them wherever they were. He made crazy behind the back passes between his legs through 3 defenders, and there was some crazy stuff. But he always understood the game so well, and he understood the movements of the other players. And this, if you haven't realized that, is kind of a common theme. Knowing what your teammates are doing and how to get the ball to them, how to get the puck to them, even if they don't know it, and even without them looking. And try something similar with basketball like Wayne Gretzky did with hockey. Watch basketball on TV, read about it, and realize what the most common strategies, movements, tendencies of the other players and other teams you're playing are doing, so that you can realize how to exploit that to your advantage on the court or the ice or whatever sport you're playing. And finally, the last athlete who was super good at their sport, not because they were the most athletic, but again because they were just this really, really smart, was a guy named Greg Maddux, and he was a pitcher in baseball. And if you don't know what any of that means, go look it up again, go research, or watch another one of my videos. I might have explained it there. But he was a pitcher in baseball, and he is often regarded as one of the greatest pitchers of all time, which is a pretty impressive title. And how he did this wasn't because he threw the ball the hardest, and it wasn't because he was the strongest or the tallest or the most athletic, but he could outthink his batters. The batters he was facing, he could just think smarter than them. And whatever the point was in the count, whatever the count was, balls and strikes, whether it was 3-0, 2-1, 1-1, 1-2, 2-2, whatever it was, he always knew how to outthink the batter and how to exploit their tendencies. If the count was 3-0, so he was 1 ball away from walking a batter, then he knew how to get them to chase the ball outside the strike zone. Once, twice, and then 3 times and eventually strike out. He knew how to mix pitches. He'd throw a fastball, and then he'd throw a curveball, and then throw a fastball in the dirt, and then he'd throw a slider, and then he'd throw a curveball, and the batter would strike out. And the batter would never know what to expect because he's always mixing things up. And he did this so well that he had so many strikeouts, so many wins. I don't even know what his stats are, but go look them up because it's absolutely insane. But that's why he was such a good pitcher, because he could just outthink his opponents. And usually you don't think that athletes are this cerebral, this smart and thorough in their approach to their sport, but they truly are. So go take a look at these 3 athletes, and I'm sure you'll be amazed at their stats and their history, and go do some of these things. Like Greg Maddux, he researched his batters. He looked at them before the game, the team he was playing, what their tendencies were, what they wanted to do in the specific count. And you can go do this as well in your sport, like I said earlier. Good luck. I know this video is kind of long, I'm sorry about that, but I just wanted to let you know and kind of talk about how cool it is and how easy it is to actually get smarter and better at your sport. Because it's honestly, it takes a lot of work to become physically capable at your sport and physically really, really good. And a lot of people think this is the only way to become super great and improve at their sport. But spending time to read books, watch TV, watch movies, talk to people about your sport, and listen to a podcast about it, whatever it may be. That is such a great way to just learn about your sport, become more physically, mentally involved in your sport, mentally immersed in your sport, And it'll make you so much better because you understand the little things in the game that are hard to teach and most people don't understand, but with enough practice you can learn them and gain an advantage in your sport. So take one of these things and immediately try it out with your sport, and I'm sure soon enough you'll experience some improvement in your sport, and I'm sure you'll be really grateful that you did it. Because once you learn these things, you can't unlearn them, and you'll have a natural advantage over everyone forever in your sport. So until they catch up. So you gotta keep at it. But that's gonna be all for this video, guys. Make sure to subscribe. I know it was a long one, but thanks for watching if you did, and make sure to stay tuned for many more videos in the very near future to come. So thanks for watching this video, guys. Go try on these tips out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.